Hey, 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 we're black, we're black, we're brown, ambition, 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 ambition. We're extra brown in the stew today because we have a guest. But before we hit the guest up, Mandy, you said you want to talk briefly about Beyonce, girl.
And what a perfect time to... Well, we have a guest on as we be talking about her hair care business, but also I died. The internet was broken yesterday.
Girl.
Because first of all, I'm uncomfortable at how much Beyonce is talking to us right now. Like just she's producing like content and people are looking like we're all like, I think a little PTSD from the Renaissance tour and how much it costs and how it just like took over last year. And we're all just like, so many comments are like, not yet, Beyonce. I don't have any money. Please don't announce a tour. But yesterday she thought she would just set the record straight in the most hilarious way that she got inches for days. And for, she launched her hair care brand and people started talking about, well, she wears wigs, I guess. And I had no time to read any slander of Beyonce and her strands, but it was just so funny because she posted a reel yesterday and parted her ways 6 ways from Sunday, like parted her hair. So you can just see no tracks, no nothing. The inches are there, all natural. And it really broke the internet. I think it had over 30 million views after being posted. The thing that's so crazy to me
is that like, girl, I knew because during the Destiny Child's days, Beyonce, the girl always had hair. It was never giving bald. It was giving protective styles for the girls that know. It was giving protective styles. It was giving, you're not going to put super heat on my hair. It was giving, I do color. I'm always changing that, like, we're keeping the mothership where it needs to be. It was never giving bald, but it was giving hater to those of you who did not know. But now you know, so.
And stop asking questions about Black women's hair. Like, just mind your business. Like, that is how I feel.
Mind your business.
Mind your business.
Remember that show, Will Smith, when he was on, he was trying to teach, I think it's Ashley how to fight at school. Was it Will Smith trying to teach? Like it was either
and
Carlton or Ashley. Yeah, okay. He was like, he said, Ashley, first you have to tell them, just mind your business. Just mind your business.
Oh, is that where that comes from? Because it's in here, but I don't remember the reference.
Yes. Anyway, we have a guest in the studio today. Yes, we do. We know her as Kim. You're going to know her as the CEO and co-founder of CurlMix. She is successful. She is resilient. She has a strong work ethic, and she has the desire to always be teachable. These are key metrics for an amazing leader. Well, in 2015, Kim, along with her husband and company co-founder, Tim, look at that, Kim and Tim, that's cute, launched CurlMix as a DIY subscription box for natural hair care products, okay? And within 3 years of switching gears to manufacturing, the company reached $1 million in annual sales. First of all, we're going to pause there because I hope you understand that less than 2% of businesses ever make $1 million. It's even less for women, even less for Black and brown women. So it's like, she's at that point. Her percentage is like what your bank be paying out to you. Shade, 0.0001%, but in a good way, right? So I remember Kim because during an appearance on Shark Tank in 2019, she declined a $400,000 deal. And the following year, CurlMix received a $12 million valuation for a seed round of funding. That's what we're talking about. CurlMix's sales catapulted to $6 million in annual revenue, and they have earned over $15 million in lifetime sales all online. AKA, she's bad, okay? In 2020, the Lewises were included in Forbes' coveted 30 under 30 list, and she was named among Crane's Chicago businesses 20 in their 20s, along with landing on Oprah's favorite things list, okay? CurlMix products have been featured in on Essence.com, Ebony.com, BlackEnterprise.com, Refinery, to name a few. And in 2021, CurlMix was listed at number 93 on the Inc. 5,000 list of growing companies. Amazing. The company continues to make headlines by offering, child, this is a lot. Just so that she's a badass,
Tiffany,
like
I'm
like, girl.
And I feel bad, Tiffany, I gotta get you a new bio too. I was like, this one sounds a few years old. I was like, my bad.
But either way, Kim is just, some of you, if you saw her, you'd be like, oh yes, I remember. She's got a gorgeous head of hair herself. So welcome to the studio, Kim.
Oh,
Welcome.
Tiffany, thank you for having me. I'm such a fan. I am such a fan. You are so good at talking.
Isn't she though?
I want to clap, but I'm trying to be mindful of that. This is a listening podcast.
Wait, we're on YouTube too, y'all. So if you want to see the curls that Kim has slayed and is just providing us all the glory of today, go to YouTube, check out Brown Ambition Podcast. But it's so great to meet you, Kim. I haven't met you before, so it is
a pleasure to meet you, Mandy. Yes, likewise. I love the big hair. I'm such a big hair fan and a lock fan. I almost got locks, Tiffany. And then they said, "No, ma'am, it's not in your contract. You can't change your hair."
Wait, what? For real?
No, I'm joking. No,
okay. About to say, because I was meant to be like the Curl Act of 2024.
That is so funny, right? No, I'm my own board of directors, and my board told me I cannot change my hair.
It is the brand.
Thank you. Yes.
Well, we welcome you here. So Kim, kind of tell us like the inception story. Like, like what made you start? Like, were you already married when you and your husband started it? And like, I'd love some little background on how it was to be on, it was Shark Tank, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
So CurlMix today, we help you master your curls in 21 days. And so many women want this hairstyle. They want the hairstyle they can wear to work, to their kids' soccer game, to their date night, and they want it to be natural, right? And so my customer is typically a Black woman over 40. She doesn't really want to wear like a lot of synthetic things in her hair, but she also wants to have something she can do on her own and not have to go to a stylist every time she needs it done. But we didn't start that way. We started as a do-it-yourself box for curly hair, like you mentioned. Something like Blue Apron, but for hair. And then our flaxseed gel was our number one selling product. And essentially we boil.
I have the flaxseed gel.
Oh, do you? Oh, wonderful. It's like a lightweight gel. And it's basically, we boil real flax seeds in our manufacturing facility. And then we extract the gel, the gooey gel, and then we put it in a bottle. And people wouldn't do that for us early on. Like if we went to 3 manufacturers, they all said no. And so I was about 7 months pregnant in my kitchen making 50 different batches of flaxseed gel until we landed on one that I thought could scale. And then we launched our customers and sold hundreds of amount of hours. And I was like, oh, we should be doing this. And so we pivoted the business. I given birth that December, and we pivoted in January. Yeah, I was a crazy person. My baby was in the factory with me till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning at like a couple, like 6 weeks, not 6 weeks, maybe like 2 months, but still I worked like in the hospital after I actually gave birth. I am not proud of that. I am not promoting that. I am not telling you, I would not do that again. Okay. I don't know that girl. That girl don't exist no more. But I was doing this back then, and that year, we pivoted the business and I thought we would fail. But that January we were doing like $3,000. I think the next month we did $8,000, and the month after that, I said, we just get to $16,000. That'd be our best month in business. Ended up doing like $30,000, and we had not spent $1 on Facebook ads. And I was like, oh, this is what we should be doing. And so that year we scaled it to $1 million, and that was the year we were actually filmed for Shark Tank, and then we appeared the year after. And that's when we hit our first like $5 million in revenue. We had gotten an investment from the former CEO of LinkedIn, Jeff Weiner, for $1.2 million, and some other partners. And then we crowdfunded after that, $4.5 million from about 7,000 customers. And that's when we hit our first $10 million in revenue. And then we just launched in Ulta Beauty last year. So we waited about 7 years to go into retail.
Okay.
Wow. How is business now? Like, so kind of going back, it's been almost 10 years, right? You launched in 2015?
Almost, but we pivoted in 2018. So like those first 3 years, I didn't know what I was doing. And the business changed, it wasn't even like the same business.
And
so
that's
this
incredible.
version since 2018 for sure.
To be brave enough to make that pivot and to see where the marketplace and like say, oh, hey, people want this. You're not too tied to the original vision that you had to say, let's pivot and let's change. And it was such smart business. I feel like some businesses close themselves by not listening and not following the numbers. I watch those shows. I love that show. My husband and I, The Prophet on CNBC with that guy who's bald and goes to places
Marcus
and they're
Lemonis.
always like yes, Lemonis. And, it's a struggling business. And so many of them are in denial, like literally doing the same thing without being willing to change. So I just wanted to call that out, how brave and smart that was. But so now since 2018 to now, how do you feel about how things are going now? And sort of, I don't want to be the one who's like, what's next? And what's the next big thing but how is life? Now you got 2 older kids, right? Got you and your husband working together for so long. How is life and how is business today versus, when you guys started?
Business is okay. This is a tough year. Last year was tough. We did 10 million the year prior, and then we went down to 6 last year.
Girl,
ouch!
I'm just telling you because last year almost broke my soul. You won't break my soul,
girl.
So yes,
girl, I have learned. That was like my first real recession as a business owner, and so now I'm like. I went out to dinner with my homie last night, Devon. I've been friends with this guy since I was 12 years old. We both are business owners. And in 2021, we was going to dinner together. We was fighting over who's picking up the tab. It was like, no, sir, you got, and the bill was like $300. You know what I mean? There was hookah, there was drinks. This is my homie, just like my brother. This time we both ordered a meal that was like under $50. I had one drink. I was like, we ain't gotta go too crazy. Just give me a little burger. We don't need no oysters and I don't need all that.
No apps, no dessert.
No apps, no dessert. We're trying to get slim. We don't need all that. And he was like, he's telling me about all these investments, right? He's invested, I don't know, millions of dollars in lots of different places, but he has no liquid cash because he just put it in so many investments, which is good, but it's like you still need 20% liquid at least, Yeah. And so now he was just, and I agree with him, same thing. And so now he's trying to divest in some of these things so he can get some liquidity. But anyway, that's just, I don't know. It's tough out here. And so where the business is now, we're in retail. And so that's going well. So that's up on the positive side. And then we just crowdfunded about 1.5 million from about a couple thousand customers. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
And then we're working with this foundation to move our factory to a newer facility. Same size, but like more affordable, but it's going to be like brand spanking new, and we're partnering with the foundation. And then as far as like the business, what's next? I think really putting in that executive team to run the business, while I can be the face. Because right now, the last 2 years, I've been trying to do the face, the fundraising, and running.
Girl.
And then my team has been doing the operations. But it's like, I found that the companies that are doing 20, 30 million to 20, 30, $40 million, they have about 4 people who are basically all CEOs running the company.
Yes.
One person's the face, one person's the fundraiser, one person's running the business. And we have a manufacturing facility, so one person should be running that. So, and then you need a lot of money to do that. And I only raised 1.5 million of the 5 on the crowdfund. So I need to raise like another $5 to $10 million. And so I'm trying to do that over the next 90 days. And so I got the foundation helping me. They'll probably be a few million. And then I'm going to reach out to some other folks who believe in the category, and know what we're doing that want to invest. So that's what I'm working on. And then as far as personally, my babies are good. They're 4 and 6. They got little boys. They love their mama.
I have 2 boys too.
Oh, do you? They're the best. Yeah. Boys love their mamas. And as personally as me, I have been, soul searching because I've been working for so long and I gave up so much, and I'm 32 now, but I've been an entrepreneur since I was 21. So, and I was only able to do that because I was married, right? Like there's certain privileges of being married. That was one of them. I could work on the business and not make anything, and he was making money. But in that, we became parents young. We were founders young. We're taking care of our parents. His mom has Alzheimer's and his dad passed away, and my mom we're mortgaging. We're just taking care of everybody, So we didn't really get to live, a 20-something life. And I think we both are like, how do we live the 20-something life in our 30s, or maybe not exactly the 20-something, but just that individuality and that freedom that we didn't get before. So that's what I'm doing right now.
That's so incredible. Okay. So I want to hear more about that. Have you guys been on your own journey in that way? Or like, what does that look like to be, it's almost better because at least now you got money, but also there's stakes. You got kids, you got a mortgage, so it's a little bit hard. You're never going to capture that freedom of like having the nothing to do and then figuring out what to do. But what is that like? Because I think I'm 36. I would love to have another stab at my 20s and see what I could play, what I could do. So yeah. What have you come up with so far?
Maybe that's such a good question. So I read, it was after the pandemic in like 2021. I read Rachel Rodgers' We Shall Be Millionaires. And
that's my homie. I just saw her this weekend.
I love her. And I read it and I cried. Yeah. And this is back when she had like 15,000 followers. Like, so it was like in the beginning, and I cried when I read it because it was just talking about women's economic development and how we've been left out of society. And it's this understanding that we have to be really like, men control our lives, essentially. Like we grow up thinking you have to be married, you have to do all these things, and you never really consider you as an individual, right? And then somehow you're less valuable in society if you're not married, if you don't have these things. And so I was just, and you know, Tim's been a really good partner to me. So it's not like I'm like trying to escape him or anything like that, but it's more like, but dang, like, what do I like? What are my hobbies? You know? And I looked up and I didn't have any. And I was like, oh my God, I want my own apartment. I was like, I love you. You're great. But like, I don't like the way our house looks. I want to see a view every morning when I wake up, you know? And I can't live in Cape Town right now because we have the business. So what's the next best thing? And I'm like, a high rise in Atlanta. And typically people are like, well, why do you, you know, there's like, you should be at home. You should be, this is what your life should look like. A woman's not supposed to have her den or have her space in the house or have her own place. And everyone looked at me sideways. All the men were like, he's okay with that. And I'm like, you know, and when you hear that, you're just like, you know, like, I'm a grown woman.
Wait, so what is it? So are you renting like an office space or do you have an apartment?
I have an apartment. I have a separate apartment for my family. Like
Oh, you're doing like the Charlotte move from Sex and the City. Do you remember? Or no, yeah, because she like moved into Carrie's apartment. That was like her mama space, her quiet space.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That is so smart. Not just have a co-working, like a workspace, but like a Zen den. I call it a Zen den. You deserve.
I love that because I have two small children, right? So like, and I've been at home with my kids, you know, while still running the business for several years. And I don't regret that. I wouldn't change that. And I'm not saying I didn't. Yeah. I regret how I lived my 20s. I'm not saying that at all either. But also, you build the house that's comfortable for kids when you do that.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's not
well, look at Mandy's background.
Ain't gotta tell me nothing.
You see the background, the sun, the moon.
This used to be my Zen den, Kim.
Oh, is that the solar system in the background?
Yes. It is. And it's not mine. And my hair is so big because I got a lot of Legos to hide that are behind me on the floor.
If I step on another damn Lego, I'm sorry.
The way that I have, but my space has shrunk so much. And however, it's temporary, but I'm really excited because I'm starting to take back the bathroom. And my house is small, okay, very small, 1,600 square foot. It's puny, but so I'm maximizing. And anyway, we're putting the kids in one room together so that I can have an upstairs room again to myself. But I just think that's brilliant. Now, I also could see why people could have thoughts about that, but I'm also like, ain't none of their business,
right? And let me ask you this, Kim. Like, I feel like so many of my entrepreneur friends are on the same journey of like those who've been doing it for like 10 years plus around that they're in this soul searching component where it's like, okay, so here I am. You know, I've done all this work. I've had the success, I guess. And so my sister and I call it, I'm happy, I guess. That's what you call it. You're like, hey, this is great, I guess. You know, it's not like nervous laughter, like, oh shit, I dedicated so much time. And you're not unhappy. Because I've certainly been here. It's like, well, I'm not unhappy. You know, there's success and I've done all the things. I collected the awards and that's great. But it's kind of like, is that it? I mean, I thought I was supposed to be like, woo-hoo, and I'm not getting that feeling. And so you realize that there's internal work necessary because it's not going to happen from the outside in. And so what you're saying, I just hope for those of you who are listening who have businesses or careers or whatever, understanding that like the acquisition of all the things is actually not the thing.
It's not the thing.
You know, that it's not the thing. And so are you figuring out for you what the thing is and what is it? Like, what have you figured out for yourself? Yeah.
And, you know, and mind you, like, I'm not living at this apartment full time, right? So like, I'm still going back and forth between Chicago. I'm probably in this apartment maybe like a week out the month. Or if I need to do deep work, I come to it. Or if I need to be inspired, or I'm just, cause you know, my house in Chicago is more like, it's gray walls. It's narrow cause it's a city house. It doesn't get a lot of sunlight. And it's babyfied. So there's like a climbing wall in the basement and there's kid like number lines and how to pronounce vowels everywhere. You know, you was a school teacher, Tiffany. You know what the rooms look like? That's how my basement looked, the whole basement. And so I looked at, I said, I don't have a space in the house and I also don't do the things I loved anymore. Before we had kids and it was just us, we would travel every quarter to a new country. Like I had been to 20 countries by the time I had kids. And then we had our first baby and we still we took it with us to Italy and to Belize and to Yosemite and all these places. But baby number 2 made some of that stuff like almost impossible while building the startup. And I realized, I did one of Rachel Cargill's meditations where you talk to the 70-year-old version of yourself. 7D.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, if you were, you're talking to the 70-year-old version of yourself, and she's where is she sitting when you visit her? Is she in a house? Is she in an apartment? Is she on the beach? What does her cup look like? What is she drinking? What is she wearing? How does she smell? Who's in the house with her? And all these like questions. And then it was like, now you sit down and what's the first thing you ask her? And then you realize that that's the thing that you're missing. That's the thing that the thing that's keeping you up. The first thing you ask your 70-year-old self, the first thing I asked her, do my kids love me? It was like the first thing. They still love me, right? The next thing I asked myself was, did you see the world? And then it just became clear to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, like these are the things I worry about. These are the things I'm not prioritizing. And it was not about, was CurlMix successful? That was like number 6 or 7.
Oh.
And then I imagined her answering, right? I'm 32. 70-year-old version of me lives another 38 years. And CurlMix has been the last 5 of my life. And I imagine her laughing that I was even asked that, just because I can barely remember the things that happened to me 10 years ago, and to think I'm going to be 70 and broken up about anything that may have happened with CurlMix in 38 years, and so it just gave me so much perspective.
Great perspective.
Amazing. As you were saying, the
perspective.
meditation, I don't know, Mandy, if you were doing it, but I was doing it. And the first thing, I imagined because I often imagine my 70-year-old self.
Wanda.
She's sitting on a rocking chair. Wanda, that's what I call her. Sitting on a rocking chair. She's wearing this flowy white dress. I know exactly what the house looks like. It's on her property. And the first thing, when you were saying, the first thing I asked herself, I was like, were we happy? Are we happy? And it's like, and then the second thing, like, did we find love again? And so like, these are the things, and you're right. I'm like, okay, and I didn't even think until you said I didn't even ask about CurlMix. I just realized, I'm like, I didn't ask her anything about Budgetnista. Like, as I was playing, that didn't even come up. Cause I'm like, girl, she don't care nothing about no Budgetista. Like, I'm asking like, how are my nieces and nephew? Like, like, did we travel even more? Cause I traveled a lot, but my main thing was, are we happy? Are we peaceful? Are we settled? Do we have love, connectedness? And that's really it. So that was like if you are listening, where can we find that meditation by Rachel Cargill?
Oh, I just heard her talk about it on stage at Rachel Rogers' ROI Summit a couple of years ago. It wasn't even like online or anything. It was just, and she was just saying, I started imagining myself like you, Tiffany. And I'm like, she's living in a mountainous area overlooking, something like a Cape Town with several mountains and beaches and water. And she's wearing a cute little fitted black dress with a big gray afro with big jewelry. And you could tell she's traveled and she's speaking languages and she's joking to you in French, and I'm like, I was like, I'm not living that life right now. How do I take steps to be that woman?
Yes. Ooh.
I would get lost in that visual, and then I would come back and be like, oh wait, now I got to get her there. Like, dang, how did we do it? Why can't you answer me? Excuse me. How did it get done? Mandy, hard of hearing. Please give me some.
Grown women, Mandy.
Can you just tell me how we do it now that we told me what? Yeah. So,
I love that.
That's so huge. Okay.
Yeah.
And the perspective on your business too, because I feel like sometimes when you're an entrepreneur, it's so easy to create another 9-to-5 where you feel like you are tied to this thing and I'm going to retire here. I'll be loyal to this for 20, 30 years. But
girl,
it sounds like you got a lot of fire in you and this may not be the end. So are you thinking, hey, let's potentially come to a place where we can sell and then spin this off into something else? Like, how are you thinking? What needs to shift now for you to get that version of yourself at 70?
My biggest goal is returning the money to my customers who invested via crowdfund. I don't really care how much money I end up with at the end of the day. I care about them getting at least their money back and then some. So I would love to give them, if you put in $500, I would love to give someone back $1,000. And then, so yes, exiting or selling the company in the name of my 9,000 customers who invested, like that's what I want to do, return their money. And then after this, I definitely need to travel more. I'm trying to, have you guys read Crushing It by Gary Vee?
No.
He just talks about basically like figure out what thing you love and make your job making content around that thing. And so you can get paid to do that thing and it never feels like you're working, but you're working a lot type of thing. I don't know if that makes sense. But like, for me, I love travel.
That's what we're doing now.
Basically, right? I love travel. I would love to be paid to travel. That would be happy for me. That would make me happy. Or a travel show. Zac Efron has this travel show where he's going around. Did y'all see it? It's like sustainability and he's visiting different countries and
I've heard of it. I think I've seen the episode.
Wait, who has it? Zac Efron?
Zac Efron. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And he's going to different countries about and learning about sustainability, but it's just so cool. And it's crazy because his guide on the show is just like really earthy, really like knowledgeable guy about sustainability. And at the end of the series, this man's house burns down in Malibu because of a forest fire.
Which Zac Efron's house?
The guy who he's with. The guide.
Oh, dang.
And it's like, this is like, we're not taking care of our planet. And it was like a really meaningful documentary. And I would love to do something like that around like business and travel for Black folks in the diaspora. Next, right? But then I'll probably start another product company because that's my expertise, but I won't be killing myself to do it. You know what I mean? It'll be like 10 hours a week or something. Like my goal is not to give myself another 9 to 5,
You're only 32. Holy shit.
You're only 36. People say I'm 32. I'm like, you're young too.
No, I know we are. And Tiff, you're only 40. How old are you?
44? But see, I'm like, girl, I don't, I told my team already.
Young.
Like, I figured it out. I'm not doing that. Like, I know the number. I told the team, no, for real, we're having some real come to Jesus talk. I know they listen. Hey, girl, we talking on Wednesday. So by the time you hear this, the cat is out of the bag. But I've been honest with them. I said, I'm not breaking my back anymore because low key, high key, I could just be me, myself, and I, and have a few handful of people and still make my 7 figures. I could do that, but I'm trying to create a place where Black women, especially, have a place to make good money in a sustainable way that helps other Black women. And so I extend myself a little further to make sure there's room for more people to be paid, but I don't need to. That like, if I just showed up just as Tiffany, speaking engagement and spokesperson work, that's 7 figures for me. So I could just be like, la, 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 and go sit down somewhere, but I want that, but not if I'm the only one going to be working. Cause why? No, you have to adjust. Like my expectation is that you will rise to the occasion or quite honestly, people can't stay here anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not going to break my back. I'm not going to kill myself so everybody can eat and I can eat less, no, that if I'm going to put in the work, my expectation is so will you or don't, and so there's huge shifts coming because I get to have joy too. I get to wake up. I get to not feel stressed. To your point, Kim, I have identified I call my 4 horsemen. These are the 4 people who are running the company where I feel comfortable. I'm going away I already told Manny, we were talking about this briefly yesterday, where my aim is I want to take 4 months off a year. I'm taking moving forward, I'm going to take May and June. I'm already taking May off. And then November and December off every single year. I'm talking about off. Don't call me. Don't reach out. Don't nothing. Girl is gone. To do whatever, either to lay in the house or really to travel the world. And what do I have to do? How often do we have to take the podcast, for example, in order to cover those times? You know?
That's why I couldn't get no other dates in May.
Yeah, girl, your girl's I'm going to South Africa, actually. I'm going to South Africa and beyond. I'm going to South Africa. I'm going to Namibia. I'm going to, not Zimbabwe. And so just because if not now, when? After my husband passed away, it was such a highlight where it's I didn't think to myself, oh my gosh, when I was sitting next to him that oh, what does the budget needs to have to do tomorrow? None of that came up. All that came up is I wish I had more time to love on him. I wish I had more time to stay connected, physically to him. And that's it. It was just love and connection. That's the only thing that came up. So if that's the only thing that came up, that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
Cause what else are we doing? Of course, if you don't have enough money to support yourself and feed yourself and all those things are going to come up, you know, but that is not my reality. I have enough to support and feed myself. So why am I still navigating from a place of gotta go get it? Go get what, sis? The refrigerator is full. And so many of my business friends are in that space where I'm why are you still working so hard when you've done the thing already? We get it. You're a badass girl. You don't got to prove nothing else. You don't got to collect a not nan other award. You made your millions. Congratulations. But and what? And the fact that I'm glad you're figuring this out so young, so you can really focus the rest of your life on the accumulation of love and connectedness and adventure and excitement. And that the business is just one of the tools to accomplish that larger life. The business is not the thing.
It's not the
you
thing.
know?
I always tell people it's the means. I was like, a business is only a means to an end. What is the end? Figure that out and then figure out the means,
Yes. Thank you, Kim. Thank you. You're the best. Thank you. We're going to let you hop because I know you. All right. Bye.